for Peace. And today we're just going to discuss issues of war and peace and find out a little bit more about what this young activist has to say, because I think we all have something to learn from young people. You can find out more about this program on the web at www.lancastercountydemocrats.org. Well, David, thanks a lot for spending some time with us today. Why don't you start by telling our viewers just a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is David Frenzel, obviously, as we said earlier. I go to Lincoln High School. I'm going to be a junior this year. I'm going to turn 17 on September 8th. I've done some work through the Lincoln High GLBTSA, the Young Socialist Club, and social justice. Did some work with Young Democrats for the last couple of years. I am pretty involved in left-of-center politics, shall we say, and things like that.
Well, David, why don't you slow down just a little bit and tell us, what is GLBTSA?
The GLBTSA is our gay straight alliance. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender. It's sort of a group where we can sort of meet together and talk about the issues affecting, our rights and how we express ourselves.
Absolutely. So which of these groups do you feel is sort of your main, where do you spend most of your time?
I try to spend my time, equally. I try to go to as much as I can. I try to stay involved with social justice a lot. Try and do a lot of groups through Amnesty International, Nebraska Coalition for Peace, things like that. I just sort of want to say that I believe that certain things can be accomplished and things like that, and sort of set forth an agenda.
I see. Well, David, a lot of groups that I'm involved with and many of our viewers, we're always talking about young people. And young people this, young people that. Why aren't young people more involved? How is it that you got involved with these issues?
I sort of woke up freshman year. I said, look, this is what's going on. A lot of the things we got involved with at Young Democrats were sort of hit close to home, things like that, like the war in Iraq, universal health care, things like that. We sort of look to youth for support and sort of say that
what I'm getting at here, you seem like you're pretty motivated to confront a lot of these issues. What caused you to be that motivated? I mean, was it a book or?
When I was in 8th grade, I sort of stumbled across a few books from Al Franken and I've read some earlier books from Kautsky, Marx. So I always had this strange, fascination with philosophy and, leftist dialectics and things like that. Sort of how we come to believe certain things and how we formulate society and history. And a lot of this came through school. We've read a lot of Machiavelli, a lot of sort of the deep philosophical books. I want to fight, these books sort of woke me up and said, this one needs to be happened, this one needs to be done. We need to fight for equal rights and equal treatment, human rights, human dignity, and sort of say, look, these are the values that affect us most, and this is what's worth fighting for.
David, you sound a lot more motivated than I think what a lot of people who are watching this show might think that an 18-year-old, or excuse me, a 17-year-old, their level of motivation would be. How do we get your peers involved or to be interested?
Education is the most important thing. Getting them aware through the schools, most especially through certain local groups. I mean, we need to show the people that these issues are affecting us. Like a lot of us know that a soldier that's being sent to Iraq right now, someone in the Marines, Army, Marine Corps, things like that, Coast Guard, anything like that, a reservist for that matter, who's being sent into Iraq or Afghanistan or one of these wars overseas or being stationed overseas, who could get sent to Iraq. And because the war is hitting home right now, we're spending so much money on that, and on defense spending, on the war in Iraq, and not on the citizens. Well, I mean, look at Hurricane Katrina, look at all this stuff that's going on, and we finally see, look, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. And I think through just simple education, saying peace, saying simple words like peace does not have an agenda. Because, we all want peace. We all want to stop the fighting, end the war. I have some conservative relatives who could agree that say, look, this is what needs to be happen, and we can support the troops and bring them home. That's, I mean, we see that bumper stickers that say support the troops, but I mean, what do you mean by support the troops? I mean, in my friends who have relatives who are in the military, I mean, it's all about outreach. It's all about outreach and education and saying, look, this is what needs to be happen.
What do we do? You know, people are maybe listening to this, or even myself, other members of the not only Democratic Party but the Republican Party. We got ourselves into the Iraq situation, you know, and it's been what, 3 years now?
3 years.
Since we've been there. And the question is, what do we do now?
I think that we should listen to some of the Congress people that said, look, I mean, there's this new dialogue right now that says it's either you support the troops or you cut and run, or they makes you look weak by Iraq troop withdrawal. I think if we slow down if we start, start a troop withdrawal or something of the like, it's sort of by the end of next year, or by the end of this year, or even immediately as possible, sort of bring them to the border, like Jack Murtha said, or like like John Kerry said, like Hillary Clinton said, or things like that. And say we should bring them to the border, sort of let the Iraqis step up while we step back. Immediately.
What happens if we pull the troops out and the country breaks into civil war? Does the United States bear responsibility for that?
We don't bear responsibility for the civil war because it's already a civil war. You already have reports of sectarian violence, and our very presence in Iraq is fueling the sectarian violence. And the fact is that they are united towards their hatred for American troops and coalition forces as well, and they're uplifting. Their entire motive is against the against the Iraqi people and against the U.S. forces, and the only way to stop that is to end what brought it in the first place, bring them home. And I just that could relate to so many people, and I think that's the most important thing we can do right now. And any way we can fight for it is genius.